searching the internet, looking to network, and hitting the pavement. We've done the work to help you get ready for your next job. We've got the experts and the latest tips, and we got you. This is Job Hunt New York.
Welcome to Job Hunt New York. I'm Carrie Barrett. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to help you not only find and land that dream job, but then figure out how to enjoy it and move on and advance. Joining me now is Carissa Reiniger. She is a small business expert, also the founder and CEO of Silver Lining. Carissa, it's great to have you with us. I'm excited to talk to you specifically about opportunities in the small business environment. Oftentimes we think about corporate as an area for employment, but there's a lot of opportunity out there in small businesses as well. So let me ask you this. Why does a job at a small business present such a great career opportunity for anybody who's really looking?
Yeah, I love this question. So as someone that is a business owner myself and a massive advocate for the power of small business in our communities and in our economies, one of the big issues small business owners have is they can't get good talent. A lot of people assume that the jobs with the most, stability or security are going to come from big companies. But the reality, as we're actually seeing in the economy right now, is that the idea of security is probably a thing of the past. And as we're reconciling with what the world really looks like, small business owners and small businesses become incredibly valuable and awesome job opportunities. Instead of sort of being focused on security and advancing a corporate ladder, you actually get to think about, being part of something really small, usually aligning your work to your mission and your values and your passion, having a big impact, not just having a job or a career. And so as the world is changing so dramatically after COVID, as the economy is in flux, as we're facing questions around inflation and economy and layoffs, I would argue that it's never been a better time to consider a career or a job in a small business, and that the things that a small business can offer are actually fundamentally more aligned with what I think the world is looking like and asking for.
I want to get to that in just a moment, but before we do, meaning the alignment, I want to ask you, how do you find small businesses that have opportunity? And I guess maybe the flip side of that same question is, how are small businesses attracting? Are you going to your sort of standard job posting sites, Monster, Indeed, or is the search, geared in some other way?
It's a great question, and it's probably one of the faults of small business owners. Small business owners are dealing with so many things that they're not good at things like a job posting. And so it isn't as easy to find these jobs. What I would say is there are quite a few good jobs on Indeed.com. I do see a lot of small business owners posting there. But more importantly, I think you should think about the small business owners that you love and care about and enjoy in your neighborhood, in your community, in the city, in New York, and actually just go talk to them. It is amazing how beautifully networked small businesses are. And if you just go talk to an owner and express interest in their business, you'll be amazed at what sort of pops up, either in that business or in businesses like it that would also be values aligned, aligned with your passion. The other tip would be to go to, chambers of commerce, places where small businesses are members, and go to a membership coordinator or go to someone that works with the business owners themselves and say, listen, I'm considering a career shift. I really want to work in a small business. I believe in it. I want to be part of the fabric of my community, of this city. And I think you'd be pleasantly surprised, amazed, excited at how well that would be received. And that type of gumption or that type of proactivity would position you incredibly well when you're actually talking to a small business owner that might look at hiring you.
Well, yeah, I guess the nice thing is you're talking to the owner is that they don't have to run it up the chain and find out if this hire is approved. But that brings me to my next question, which is, how do you present yourself as a viable candidate to an owner who is likely, as you alluded to a little bit earlier, doing everything soup to nuts? Their chief cook, bottle washer, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, so my company works with small businesses around the world, including hundreds of incredible small businesses in New York City who I love and appreciate. And the thing that our data shows us is that in general, small business owners are busy and overwhelmed. And so if you want to position yourself as someone that can help a small business owner, you've got to be able to show that you can show up and offer support. You're not looking for a traditional position where you can show up and be told what to do and sort of follow the rules. In many ways, working at a small business is counterculture. So much of corporate culture teaches us, for lack of a better word, to in many ways be robotic, right? Follow the rules, do the things, don't have an opinion, do what the company tells you to do in the way it tells you to do it, in the order it tells you to do it, and you will be rewarded. In a small business, you're really asked to step back and approach it completely differently. You're invited to have opinions. You're invited to have a point of view. In fact, a business owner needs help. And so I would offer that if you want to be valuable to a small business owner, if you want to position yourself for a role, the beautiful thing is that you can and should bring all of yourself to the position, your ideas, your passion, your opinions, your points of view. I always joke that I don't want anyone to give me compliments or to tell me how great I am. I could care less. My love language is come help me do this like amazing vision that I have. Come help me get things done. And so if you are a natural go-getter, you take action, you've got opinions, you want to make a real change, you want to have a position where you're actually offering real tangible value and can drive things forward, you are probably incredibly well positioned to work for a small business, and you would be very well received.
You might have answered part of this question already, but I want to make sure that we're understanding it appropriately. Oftentimes we hear when we're looking for a job out in the corporate space that like specialty. You have to be a specialist. You have to know this one narrow thing from top to bottom. Whereas I think you alluded to being a generalist is something that is perhaps more applicable in this space, in this small business space. Is that accurate?
Yeah, such a good way of putting it, because I think, sometimes I talk to so many of my friends, I'm in my early 40s, and I talk to so many of my friends that feel so siloed, right? They got a degree in XYZ, and then they've climbed a ladder for the last 18 years. And now they are so deeply sort of siloed, and there's so much more they have to offer, but their career has put them in a very specific lane. The beauty in small business is that you're asked to be anything, everything. And so it really is a place where being a generalist and having even a really sort of sporadic or untraditional career history is not seen as a negative, but it's really seen as a positive. I'll just tell you this one story. I was at an incredible small business actually on Sunday called Fit for Dance in Brooklyn. And I was talking to a bunch of women there. And there was this woman who's 48 years old. She had the sort of tenacity and the courage to put herself back into college in her 40s, has an MBA, and she can't get a job. And I think that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. But when she's applying for corporate roles, they're telling her, well, you don't have the traditional experience and you went to school in your 40s, not your 20s. So that doesn't make sense for our algorithm. And I said to her, don't be dismayed, right? Like that is an indication of a system being broken, not you being broken. How incredible that you're this powerful woman. You've, built a life. You went back to school in your 40s. You've done these amazing accomplishments. You have education and life experience and this varied portfolio of jobs and things that you've done over the last, 25 years. Like you're a prime candidate to go in and make a big difference in a small business. And so, especially for those of you listening that maybe didn't follow a really traditional career path, or you don't have 100 certificates, that have made you an expert in one thing, really think about a career working with a small business, because it will reward your lack of traditional path. It will recognize and appreciate that you're well-rounded and that you've tried a bunch of stuff and you can bring all of that to this role. And so I just applaud. And I think in general, I've gotten to the point where I actually don't hire anyone with a continuing education degree. I've gone the opposite direction because I think that it's so interesting to meet and work with and understand the experiences, the point of view of people with more varied backgrounds. So it is a moment for the generalists. It's a moment for the people with varied backgrounds. It's the moment for people who chose untraditional paths. Your experience will be incredibly valuable in a small business.
Let me ask you, this may be a two-part question. Are the benefits and the compensation packages in small businesses as competitive as they are? Are they as good as they are, I guess, maybe in the corporate world? And if they're not, are there tricks to negotiating one so that it does become a win-win it becomes a win-win, I guess.
For everybody, exactly. Listen, I think the truth of the matter is that one of the challenges of being a small business is that cash flow can be hard. It's hard to build a profitable, sustainable small business. I mean, every small business owner that has accomplished that is a hero in my mind. So you may not get a big salary, but I would offer that, a lot of what we contemplated even during COVID really asks, like, what is a good life, right? Is it making hundreds of thousands of dollars, or is a good life having more flexibility? Does a good life include more vacation time with your family? Does a good life mean working in a place where work feels like fun and like community, not, like you're working 9 to 5 and desperate to get out of the office? So if I was negotiating to go work in a small business, definitely advocate for a fair salary. Of course, you deserve that. But, or also, right, I would really think about a compensation package that is more robust. Could you have a lot more vacation if you work for a small business? Yes. So my company gives our staff 7.5 weeks paid vacation every year, no questions asked. A lot of small businesses will give you holidays off without even thinking about it, right? It doesn't go against your minute by minute vacation tracking, but you might get time between the holidays off. You might get extra bonuses around that kind of stuff. You also, if you come and work for a small business and you really believe in yourself, you really believe in your ability to contribute, it is a very, very good idea to negotiate for performance-based pay. Meaning, depending on the role you take, you might say, if I can come into this business and be a general manager, or if I come into this business and I'm your marketing manager, or if I come into the business and I run your product or your delivery or whatever it is, if I can help you get the business from where it is now to bigger or better, you'll give me a percentage of the growth, or you'll give me a percentage of whatever. Interestingly, equity probably doesn't matter as much in a comp package for a small business, because equity really matters if there's going to be a payout, right? If there's going to be a sale event. Most small businesses are not building to sell. So focus instead on a fair base salary, vacation and flexibility that works for your lifestyle, performance-based pay. And the last thing is revenue share and or profit share. So an annual distribution of revenue share or profit share is more powerful in a small business than equity.
Very good. I don't even give myself 7.5 weeks of paid vacation. I think I need to come.
Me neither.
I need to come work for you. Chris, I'd love you to stick around for a little bit longer. We'd like to continue this conversation with you right after these helpful tips. Once again, we have Carissa Reiniger. She's a small business expert. Carissa, we talked about how to land that small business opportunity before. Now we want to talk about how to advance when you're there, which I imagine can be a little tricky. How does somebody with big career goals think about career progression if they're in this smaller environment? There may not be as many positions or as many levels.
Yeah, it's such a good question, because I think it's literally called small businesses, right? So we assume small business means small opportunity. I would argue that if you're really ambitious, there's probably no bigger opportunity than convincing a small business owner that you can really be their effective second in command or their number two, the person they can rely on. And so if you are someone that is incredibly ambitious and you want a big career, one of the sort of secret, sad realities of the average small business owner is that it's really hard to build a succession plan as a small business owner. It's very rare, increasingly so actually, that someone that started a business, their kids want to take it over, or, there's that one great employee that lasted for 50 years and becomes, the heir apparent of the business. And so there's actually a trend in the small business industry right now around what's called the silver tsunami, where there are so many baby boomers who own small businesses that don't have a good succession plan. And so the risk is that if they just close their businesses down, that is going to have a really dramatic impact on all of our communities and ultimately the economy. So you think about our beloved New York City, a city I love so, so much. If all the small businesses in New York shut down because there was no one to run them or take them over from the current business owners, this would be a terrible city, right? New York City is a small business city. The best parts of New York are the small businesses on every corner and every community. So I would say to you, be ambitious enough to imagine taking over that small business. Learn from the business owner, get to know the team, get to know the customers, get to know the business. And there are ample, I would say unlimited opportunities right now in the small business industry in New York and beyond for people who own businesses that are looking for their successors. And so I would say be audacious and bold enough to imagine taking over that small business. There's lots of big opportunities out there right now.
You mentioned a little bit earlier that the balance, that ever sort of lingering on the horizon, career and life balance, may be something that is more obtainable in a small business environment. Is there a definition of what true success looks like for career advancement, particularly satisfaction in this realm?
Yeah, I think it's a philosophical question, one that I'm really passionate about. I think increasingly you could argue it's for better or worse, right? The lines are blurring between work and life, passion, purpose, money, profit. I would argue it's for the better. I think that if we could get away from having a job, J-O-B, from 9 to 5, right, that we may or may not like, and then we try and find outlets for our purpose, the impact we want to have, our passion, our family, our friends, in outside work hours, right? Like that sort of break between work and life feels crazy to me because we spend so many hours at work. So why would we spend that much time not loving our life? I think work is an element of life. And so the opportunity, I think, is to reimagine what it means to have career transition and instead to ask, what is the life I want to lead? What does a full life look like? And if I have X number of hours in a week, we all have 168 hours in a week to be specific. How do I want to spend that time? And I would want each of you listening, whether you find it at a small business or a big business, to find a career, a job that the number of hours you spend working, which is one of the biggest parts of our time budget, doing something that you believe in, you enjoy, you feel like you are at home to a certain degree, or you're in community with people that you like and appreciate you. And so I just think that the idea of work-life balance is probably impossible. I don't think we could ever balance them if they are separate. If work and life are separate and we have to balance them, I don't think that's going to work. But if they become aligned, I think that can build a beautiful life. And so it's not that you can't have alignment working in a corporation. I think that's possible. But I think there's a deeper chance for a deeper level of alignment if you're working in a small company that is more like a community than, a kind of a traditional business.
Yeah, it's interesting because along with that sort of alignment that you're talking about, I think about how we often talk about purpose. This is part of my, purpose or my mission or vision, values, whatever it is. And those are often nice words, but there are plenty of environments where we thought we were going to have purpose. And really, you're right. We're just like, it's a punch list. Did we get this done? Did we get this done? Did we get this done without somebody breathing down my back?
Totally.
So is there, I guess, a way that you can combine that purpose with, life and career advancement in the small business environment? Because it sounds to me that it may require a complete sort of revamp of the way we think about success, which is what you've alluded to.
Yeah, listen, I think one of the mistakes that we make when we think about small business owners, and again, I'm a diehard advocate of small business owners. I think they're the most amazing people on the planet. But we think that they are smaller in their ambition or their skill or their talent. Everything I know, I started my company 18 years ago, and I've worked with over 14,000 small businesses in 65 countries in that time. I don't think I've ever met a small business owner that doesn't have audaciously big dreams. They might just be different dreams. Their dreams are not to become a CEO that makes, $100 million a year and runs a big machine. Their dreams are to create a legacy for their family and make a big impact on a community that they care about and build a product or service that they are uniquely skilled at and passionate about. And so if we just sort of think of the ethos of a small business, I think it is more daring and more ambitious to take the risk of starting a small business than going and working in a traditional job. And I would argue that the people that join small businesses sort of follow that path. I think that we are mistaken by thinking that small business is small. I think small business is very big. And if you look at the sort of collective job creation and economic impact of small businesses, it's massive. And so I think there's a grand reckoning and an opportunity for us to rethink that bigger is better. And for us to imagine that a full life or a successful life is based on how much money we make. And I still think you can make lots of good money and be very financially successful if you are a small business owner or you work for a small business. That's sort of my life's work. My mission is to make sure these small business owners are profitable and sustainable and can pay any of you job hunters out there well. And it's more than that, right? I think a good life is where we are well, healthy, right? Body and mind. We are profitable and sustainable. We are sort of sound financially, and we're creating impact in the world, right? We're thinking about impact and justice and systems that can make the world better as our success increases. And so the ability to hold wellness, financial success, and justice, I think small business owners are the leaders of that trend. And I think the world's ready and needing that type of thought leadership and that type of leadership in general from small business owners and those of us that work with them.
I'm going to ask, I'm sort of going to role reverse a little bit here. Let's say that somebody's watching this, I mean you, and you're in a corporate environment and you know that you're not going to advance there. You frankly don't want to advance there. And they're listening to you and they're like, maybe I should start a small business of my own. Like, broad strokes, what are your recommendations about that? How do you evaluate it? Is starting a small business, potentially a way to advance as well, with your own goals and your lifestyle?
Yeah, listen, yes, and it's really hard. Yes, and I always say, I believe based on all the data that I have, all the stories that I've seen, all the humans I've had the privilege of working with, my own life experience, I did not start from much and I've been able to build my company to where it is today. All of that's true. I believe anything is possible for any human who has clarity of vision and is willing to put the work in to get there. I believe that to my core all the way. And owning a small business is not the solution to not being able to find a job you like or thinking that you're sick of working for somebody and you want freedom. Small business is a lot of work. It is a labor of love, passion. It's high risk, low reward for a long time usually. And so I would simply say to you, if you're starting a small business because you have a passion that is so deep inside of you to do it, and you just know it's time and you've been delaying it or you've been pushing it off or you've been unsure, then go for it. Get structure, get support, get help, do it, because it is the most amazing thing. And I would never go back to working in a traditional environment having now started my own business. If the reason to do it is because you think you're sick of having a boss, you don't want to go to work every day, you think you're gonna, your life's gonna be magically better if you were your own boss, don't do it, because it is too hard, it is too risky. You will be dismayed at the reality of it very quickly. So if it's a true calling, a true passion, born from something you want to accomplish and give to the world, do it. If it is because you are sick of your job or you think it's going to be your answer to freedom and flexibility, don't do it.
Yeah. So you're telling me it's not like what all the bro gurus say on LinkedIn. 2 months ago, I was $50,000 in debt, and now I'm making 75 grand a month. That's not how it works. Nobody's showing up at your door with suitcases of cash.
Right? Thank you for saying that, because it is my biggest pet peeve. These it's like the modern day used car salesman, right?
Yeah.
If you take my course, you'll make $1 million. No, you won't. That's not true.
Some guy on LinkedIn told me this wasn't going to be how it is, and it's really hard. Let me just tell you that, Carissa. It was amazing talking to you. I wish we had more time. We don't, unfortunately. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, and of course, your time with us as well.
Thank you so much for being here, and thanks to everyone listening. Good luck to you guys on your journeys.
Finding a job and being happy in your career can at times be challenging. We hope that we've helped put you on the path to career success and satisfaction. Thanks for watching Job Hunt New York. I'm Carrie Barrett.